Hey everyone, welcome back. It's Comics with Callaway. We're saved. The Lord of the Rings TV show is saved. Well, let's hope so. Let's hope so. Lord of the Rings consulting producer claims he's not recruiting Dana Swartz for Amazon's upcoming Lord of the Rings TV show. Lord of the Rings consulting producer Brian Cogman claims he is not recruiting She-Hulk writer Dana Swartz for the upcoming Amazon Lord of the Rings. Cogman recently sparked fears that Swartz, known for her attacks on South Park calling for an end to Western canon and comparing men to Oscar the Grouch, could be getting herself involved in Lord of the Rings series. Swartz had taken to Twitter to indicate that her time in the She-Hulk writing room had ended and was asked if there was a showrunner or writer who was looking for someone with her skill set. What skill set? She wrote, "The She-Hulk room ended." She wrote, "The She-Hulk room ended, so you happen to know a showrunner looking for a writer who makes jokes and writes books and knows a lot about historical fun facts. Hit me up." Sorry, guys. Schwartz also added, "Also, if you're an editor who needs a freelance on a feature, I happen to have a very low-key social life and a lot of free time on my hands at the moment." Well, that's not a shock. Someone on Twitter as much as you has no social life. Not surprising. Cogman responded, "Hi, yes, are your DMs open?" He then added, "Or you could just DM me. Thanks for the podcast. Love the podcast." And she replies, "Just followed you." Cogman's comments and subsequent conversation would be brought to the attention of YouTuber Gary Buechler, Nerdrotic. He's a good channel. Everyone follow Nerdrotic. He knows his stuff. By fellow YouTuber Geeky Candle with the option that Cogman was reacting out to Star Wars to bring her on the Lord of the Rings TV show. And then he wrote simply, rest in peace, Lord of the Rings. So these are all just the tweets and conversations. Buechler would write, "Always available for free consultation, Lord of the Rings on Prime." He then provides his free consultation. Number one. We'll read the tweet instead. Keep Tom shippy and listen to him at every turn. Honor Tolkien's messages and his mythology. Do not hire Dana Benish Western Canon Schwartz. Cogman would respond to this comment, indicating that he was not looking to hire Schwartz in The Lord of the Rings. He wrote, "Okay, Dana is a terrific writer and a cool person. Also, the Western canon will be just fine. 2. This has nothing to do with Lord of the Rings. I'm not the showrunner. I'm just consulting producer." In a separate follow-up thread, Cogman would detail his work on Amazon's Lord of the Rings series. He began, "Okay, a few people have been misinformed or aren't reading my profile closely. So here goes, just this once. I'm a consulting producer on Lord of the Rings. This job is exactly what it sounds like. I was involved heavily at the beginning, helping the incredible Murder's row of writers get the thing off the ground before stepping away to focus on my own shows." He then made it crystal clear that he was not running the Lord of the Rings show. "I'm not running it. I was never running it. I was honoured and thrilled and happy to work on it for a spell." He concluded that he was working on his own series. Now I'm writing movies, developing my own series, and have returned to Twitter mainly to talk movies with my talking movie pals. That kind of thing is by far the majority of what you'll experience if you follow me. If that's not for you, all good. So basically, he's come out and said that just Dana Schwartz isn't going to be writing for the Lord of the Rings TV show. And as a big Lord of the Rings fan myself, loved it, loved the movies and the Hobbit movies. Hobbit movies not as good as Lord of the Rings, but the Lord of the Rings movies are fantastic. I've watched the extended cuts on Blu-ray multiple times. Loved it. Loved the movies. It was great storytelling. It was awesome. And it's Dana Schwartz. We all know her for this new She-Hulk TV series that she's writing, and her Twitter outbursts and stupid shit that she says. And this is some of the stuff. We can see this is some of the stuff that she says. We can see her name's been blacked out. Please don't contact her and harass her on Twitter, even if you just anything that's not kissing their boots, tapping on the back is harassment. So just don't say anything, don't contact them because they will make your life a living hell for no reason, even though they'd say all this stupid shit. So let's have a read of some of the stuff that she says. You know what? Screw it. No novels by white men in high schools for the next 20 years. Our, our ideas of what the important books are wasn't built in a vacuum. They were created back in time when books by women and people of colour were inherently thought of as lesser. The gatekeepers were white men who were biased in favour of their own perspective. The literary canon as it exists is racist and patriarchal, and it keeps reinforcing itself. I'm just warning you now that when the White Man's Guide comes out in November, I'm going to start tweeting some very provocative literary takes just because it's really funny to me when threatened white men get very mad. She's doing a book called The White Man's Guide to Male Writers of Western Canon. Just the stupid shit that these people say. And this tweet here, this one more so than just pissed me off. This one made me very angry and very I'll never support her anything that has a name on it because of this tweet, and I'll explain why. I am more scared of angry young white men in trench coats than I am of this word. I won't say it, but we all know this word. And we know the other three organisations. One starts with T and one started with A. And this one really sort of hurt my feelings and sort of took this one to heart, and I'll explain why. Someone very close to me, someone who's a really close friend, someone that I hold dear, someone who's really close, that really good friends with. He fought in the wars. He was in the Australian military and he fought in Afghanistan. So he's been over there, and I've heard the stories and from him, and I see now on a daily basis what he goes through from being in the war. Now that he's out of the military, he's retired, and he's only young, he's not old, and I've seen the effects of what that war and what these type of people that she's referring to does to people. And we all know that this group here, starting with I, the group starting with T, the group starting with A, from back when the wars first started, we all know what type of people they are. And we all know, not all Muslims are bad. Not all Germans were Nazis. Not all Japanese people in World War II were bad. It is what it is. But for her to say that she's more scared of white men than she is of the I word there, that done it for me. So anything that she is attached to, whether it's comic books, TV shows, anything she's attached to, I will not support purely and solely because of that tweet and what I see my friend and stuff go through every day from what war does to people. And it just makes me really wonder what type of people in society have we produced in people to say things and do things like this. Like your boy Zach says, he fought in 2 wars and fought some of the most evil people in the world, and he said he's come home and the most evil people he's ever seen are SJWs. They're malicious. And she's obviously white. She's not a person of colour. Or she might be mixed race or something, but looking at her picture here, she's white. So I imagine that if she's got brothers and sisters, her brother's probably white, her sister's probably white, her father's probably white, her mother's probably white. So you imagine when she's talking this about how bad and evil and just horrible people that she says white people are. It's like, if it wasn't for white people as well, you wouldn't have the life that you have. You wouldn't be born if your father was not white, things like that. You are who you are. So for her just to say that white people are just the most evil people on the planet is what she's insinuating. It's really disgusting, and it's really horrible that this is what people have become. Yes, we all know history, and history has not been kind to certain races and genders and stuff. But it's not the 1940s, the 50s, the 60s anymore. It's the 21st century. The people now that claim to be oppressed are the ones that are on the top of the food chain, basically. The ones that are privileged status because of their gender identity, sexual orientation, the whole lot. It's them, the ones they live in this little tiny little bubble, like she lives on Twitter here, and she thinks white men are worse than this group. If you really think that, go and live over there. You've seen people fleeing their countries to come to different countries because they hate it over there. And yet these people, these 21st century millennials and boomers and zoomers and generation whatever, they live in this little fairy tale bubble of their reality that they think is real and what isn't. They just tweet 20 million times a day. I don't know why it's a 27. It's an ironic number. But they tweet millions and millions of times a day. And it's their little alternate reality that they think exists. And so it is what it is. This is the person that everyone was getting worried about, that she was going to be doing the Game of Thrones show. So I'm glad she's not. I can watch Game of Thrones, but it seems like this Game of Thrones show has just been a train wreck from the start. People getting fired and cancelled and this and that. It's just been a train wreck. So, but I'm glad this person that you see here on the screen is not writing the TV show. This is the kind of people that society is producing and that they believe exists. White man evil for everything. So that's my video, guys. Please like, share, subscribe, share the video, hit the bell for notifications, and trying hard to bring you more content. But with everything's going on and other stuff going on in life, I can't do lots and lots of videos a day as much as I'd like to. I can usually only get a couple out a day. So yeah, thanks guys. Have a good one.